Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, where we review stories that beautiful people like you watching this right now post on the internet. And we got a couple of beautiful stories for you today. Story 1. Would I be the a-hole if I go on vacation instead of my brother's wedding? My brother Tom, 36 male, and I, 26 female, have never had a really solid relationship. Due to our age gap, we didn't spend much time, and by the time I was old enough to develop a personality, he was moved out of the house. For the last 2 years, my brother and his fiancée Sarah, 32 female, had been planning their wedding, and it's coming up in September. I was asked to be the bridesmaid. I figured I was only asked as a courtesy, since I'm her soon-to-be sister-in-law, but I still took it seriously. I have been a bridesmaid for the last 2 years. Just a few weeks ago, I managed to save up to buy the $800 bridesmaid dress. Overall, in the last 2 years, between group outings to parties, dinners, lunches, clothes, and so forth, I spent thousands of dollars. Eventually, all the girls in the wedding and I became extremely close, and I started to get hyped for the wedding. Sarah recently got close with her brother's wife Becky, 30 female. Last week, she dropped the ball on me that she no longer wants me to be the bridesmaid, and she would prefer if Becky would take my place. It broke my heart a little, but it's her wedding, and it's not my place to tell her how to run it, so I said it was fine. Yesterday, I went to my brother's house to pick up the bridesmaid's dress, and was going to see if I could return it, since it was within the time frame. Sarah was completely appalled, and said that Becky was going to wear it, since she and I are the same size. I said that would be fine, but they would have to pay me the $800 for it. Sarah said that Becky couldn't afford it, and I should just be nice and let her use it, and said that I could keep it after the wedding. I explained that I'm not just giving away the dress, and I'm not ever going to use it after the wedding. After some bickering back and forth, I just ended up taking it and leaving. My brother and Sarah tried to compromise with me, and say I could be quote-unquote the assistant flower girl, and I felt offended at the offer. After I said no, they then said that Becky could give me $250 for it. Again, no, and I returned the dress and got a full refund. I told them I understand that it's their wedding, but they are being extremely disrespectful to me, and I don't need to deal with it, and I'm not going to the wedding. Today, my coworker says she has an extra round-trip plane ticket to Miami that she'll sell to me for half price. Plus, I would have to pay for half of the hotel, and I can go hang out with her in Florida. The only downside is that I'll be in Florida for the week of my brother's wedding. So, would I be the a-hole if I just go party in Miami instead of going to my brother's wedding? Not the a-hole. Outside of a malicious bridesmaid who doesn't support the wedding, there was no reason to kick you out of the wedding. She could have easily added a bridesmaid without asking someone to step down. It's appalling that she thought she could take the bridesmaid dress you paid for. It's her wedding, and she can do what she wants, but the consequence of being shitty to people is they don't want anything to do with you. Also, your brother sucks. If I treated my husband's family like that, no matter how distant he was to them, we wouldn't have been married. Not the a-hole. They were completely out of line trying to take advantage of you. The quote-unquote assistant flower girl and $200 counteroffer from the brother and Sarah for an $800 dress is laughable. They should have covered the amount that Becky couldn't pay. If Becky could only afford $250, then Sarah and Tom should pay $550 on behalf of Becky to cover the balance. I definitely would not be going to that wedding after that. I would say as long as you don't flaunt that you are going on vacation to Miami instead of the wedding, you are not being an a-hole. As someone that is not from the USA, I don't really understand how does this all bridesmaid maid of honor works. From what I see, it's required for you to spend money on wedding-related things and events, and I think that Sarah should have taken that into consideration when she told you to give your place to Becky. I don't understand why it couldn't be both of you. I think that you were right to ask for the money, especially because if you gave away your dress, then you would have had to go get another one. Since Sarah doesn't even consider you that close, and you say that you're not close to your brother, and that this trip feels more appealing to you, I would say go on that trip and just give them a present later. Only if you feel bad for not going. Not the a-hole. Update. So, unfortunately, since Reddit is awful at keeping secrets, Becky saw the post on TikTok, so she obviously let the cat out of the bag. My whole family is split on what I should do, but after a heated argument, it was mutually agreed that I will not be attending the wedding. My brother and future sister-in-law cannot seem to comprehend that this is not about the dress, but how they treated me. For those wondering what our parents have to say, our mother says, quote, "If you're gonna be an a-hole, don't be upset when someone's an a-hole back." My dad says, quote, ... end quote, because he's long dead. My brother and future sister-in-law thinks I'm the a-hole, but by the way, my mom paid for the hotel for my trip. I think it is safe to assume whose side she's low-key on. I appreciate all the love and support I got. I will have an amazing time in Miami and won't feel the slightest bit guilty thanks to the overwhelmingly positive response I got here. Thanks to you all. Honestly, that's the best way that they could have found out. Well ahead of the wedding, so they have time to process it. Also, it's good they found the online discussion on their own, so they had a chance to see all the responses instead of you at some point being like, well, actually the internet says that you're the a-hole, which would obviously just sound 1000% self-serving to ever bring up on your own. They might never agree that they're the a-hole, but at least they'll know that a lot of people genuinely thought that they're the a-hole. Sarah, if you read this, 26,000 people on the first post said that you are an a-hole for what you did. If you can't understand why, you need therapy to help you understand. It is also really sad that you have effectively destroyed the relationship between your husband-to-be and his only sibling. Again, if you can't understand this, please find a qualified counselor to help you. Brother, when Sarah shows this to you, follow your wife-to-be to counseling to develop some insight into the impact of your actions. Edit. Number seems to have changed, but it's still 26,000. Edit 2. Correction on the sister-in-law name. The dress was ridiculously expensive to begin with, and expecting you to just hand it over after saving for months is unfair. Making you feel like you were part of the team and then just kicking you out on a whim was also unfair. You do not owe them anything. In fact, they owe you an apology, and from the sounds of it, some of that thousands you've spent paid back. Take lots of photos of yourself having a blast with a huge smile, and make sure they'll see them. Hey guys, if you are enjoying this video so far, I want to please remind you to be an a-hole to the like button by offering them a grilled cheese sandwich, and when they tell you no because they're lactose intolerant, just say, no problem, I have lactose-free cheese, but just give them a regular grilled cheese sandwich instead. Story 2. Would I be the a-hole stepping down from my wedding party after being fired as maid of honor 2 months before the wedding? Nearly a year ago, my best friend asked me to be her maid of honor. I was so excited, and I said yes and took the task very seriously. I've gone dress shopping with her for her dress, and went shopping with her for the bridesmaid dresses as well. I've spent hours addressing, saved the dates with her, kept in contact with her bridesmaids about ordering their dresses, and planning jewelry and shoes in the color that she wants. I made sure that someone could organize her bridal shower because I was out of state for work for 3 months, making sure they understood her wishes for the party. I also personally took the time to look through her decor inspiration and saved items on an Amazon list for her to go through, so she could look at affordable options she wanted to purchase, which she was very happy about. I also want to note, I have already planned her bachelorette party and just need to call and finish the booking process completely, as we are a little more than a month out. It's being hosted in town and a very chill night as she requested. I travel for work and I turned down multiple jobs so I would be close for her wedding and events if she were to need my help planning these last few months. This has resulted in me being out of work for the last 3 months because she was upset I was going to be out of state. There have been no jobs close enough to home that made sense, as I'd have to drive back home multiple times during my assignment, but I finally found a job. Hooray! I literally rearranged my career just to be close by to help her. It was a shock to me to receive a very lengthy text this week telling me that she was going to have someone else take over as the maid of honor, and she was demoting me to a bridesmaid because I told her I may not be able to attend the bridal shower due to work. I could only submit a request for the weekend of her wedding off. I would attend the rehearsal, but maybe not rehearsal dinner, because I was under the impression I had to pay for dinner myself and it was at a very expensive restaurant. And I cannot currently afford to get my nails done the day before the wedding, and I told her I likely won't be attending that event either. Finances are tied with a new house, personal wedding planning, and a baby on the way. She also feels I haven't communicated with her enough, even though I checked in at least once a month asking if she needs me. I always end these conversations with telling her how she should reach out if something comes up. Also, apparently my texts don't come off as being excited for her, which makes her mad. I guess she feels like I don't want to be involved at all because of these few things, thus her stripping me of the position after I've done all this work. This text also came right after I asked if we could have a backup plan to learn how to bustle her dress in case my pregnant belly does not allow me to bend and squat very well to do it on the wedding day. Apparently it quote-unquote saddened her that I even asked. She said she needs someone who will be there for all the events physically to quote-unquote support her. I feel pretty bummed and disrespected right now, as if nothing I did mattered. I am considering stepping down completely after this. Would I be the a-hole doing so? Am I the a-hole makes me so grateful for things, sometimes like, hey, my friends just acted like decent caring friends when they got married, and not like being in a wedding was some kind of world critical mission in which everyone had to put their lives on hold for the bride, like she's a wartime general commanding troops in a do or die battle. B, that I'm never going to get married. C, that the time of my life where I get asked to be in weddings is now definitely over. Now the a-hole, you've been a great maid of honor. Skipping the bridal shower for work is sad but understandably necessary. Brides don't have the right to expect you to go into debt to get your nails done. WTF? What literal, in-person support does she need to go to a bloody nail salon? I was maid of honor for my best friend because I'm her best friend, and I am the person she wanted standing next to her on that day. Not because I ran around like a gopher, acting like her wedding was the only important thing in the universe. If your friend wants to demote you, she's acting like the latter, not the former, and it's weirdly self-absorbed and sad. I wouldn't blame you for not wanting to continue in the bridal party if those are her expectations. Not the a-hole. Your friend does not want a maid of honor. She wants a servant at her beck and call. She wants and expects you to drop everything for her without regards to how difficult that is. You have a job, responsibilities, a baby on the way, a home. It is unreasonable to expect you to not work for months on end, change your life to suit hers at every turn, be exciting sounding in text, not sure how you get excited across text, and still afford to do all the events she wants you to attend. I would text her and tell her that you no longer feel that you can be a part of her wedding day, but that you wish her well and hope her new maid of honor is up to her high expectations. I would then text the new maid of honor the bachelorette party info and not book it yourself. I would also let the other members of the bridal party know that you are not the maid of honor or a bridesmaid, and that any and all questions should be sent to the bride or the new maid of honor. I would then let her run the show. After everything that you did for her and her wedding, it's sad that she treated you that way. It kind of feels like she used you to get things done and now wants someone else to fill your shoes. Good luck with the new baby. Wow. Yeah, I think stepping down, totally passing any of the planning stuff you've done so far to the new maid of honor would be the best thing for you. Is the bride aware of all the work you've sacrificed so you're close? Surely she knows, despite you not being able to make some of the events, how much you've actually put into helping her out. Ultimately, these kinds of things can really make or break a relationship, so there is a possibility that, unfortunately, she isn't understanding all of you've done, and will see you totally stepping down from the bridal party as a snob. But if I were in your shoes, I don't think I would comfortably stay in the bridal party knowing I'd been demoted, and the likelihood is also the bride has talked to the other bridesmaids about it. Really sorry you're having to deal with this, not the a-hole. I sent a text last night that outlined essentially everything I've done listed here in this post, and I expressed how hurt and disrespected I felt. I told her what I felt a maid of honor is, and I felt that this wasn't it, that it's all basically transactional and based on what more I could offer her. I also included the fact that she hasn't personally communicated with me much either lately about the wedding or my personal life. I politely let her know that I would be stepping down. Sent over 8 hours ago with no response as of yet. Not the a-hole, but I don't think you'll be friends anymore if you do drop out. Not the a-hole. It's so unfair for her to just fire you after all the efforts and sacrifices you made. I mean, yeah, I get it. She's gonna be a bride, but that doesn't mean that others' lives stop for her arrangements and her events. If I were you, I would reconsider the friendship altogether. Thank you all so much for the kind comments and support. I felt validated in my decision to ultimately step down from the wedding overall. It was good to hear from others that I wasn't overreacting and being hormonal. The update is kinda boring, but an update nonetheless, because a couple of commenters asked for one. Sorry it took so long. I've sent a long text to my friend 2 days after my original post. The text was outlining everything I've done for her, and why I felt disrespected in her decision to demote me from maid of honor so close to the wedding date. I was also sure to tell her that I've lost a lot financially in trying to be a good friend and stay close for her wedding and events like she wanted. I ended the message telling her that I still want her to enjoy her day, and I don't want it to be full of any drama or bitterness, so I felt it best that I stepped down from it all. It took 2 full days for her to respond. We went back and forth quite a bit with her telling me the additional reasons for demoting me, where I hadn't been texting her enough and asking her about her personal life. I wasn't excited enough in my messages about the wedding and so forth. Essentially, she felt I was more concerned with my own life currently, pregnancy and finding a job, than I was with her wedding. There were a lot of pity me messages from her, and after reiterating that I no longer wanted to be in the wedding at all, I stopped replying. I haven't heard from her in over 3 weeks. I've returned my bridesmaid dress, and I feel so at peace with my decision. I don't think I'll be attending the wedding at all. Thank you for all the well wishes for my pregnancy and baby as well. We found out last week it's a boy. I also started my new job this week, so time to get my finances back on track and try to fix the mess that has been created in that area before the baby is here. Oh, I have a friend like this. I was a bridesmaid, not a maid of honor, but after moving to her country and being incredibly stressed about finding somewhere to live, a job, transport, and so forth, she was upset that I wasn't calling her every day about her wedding, which was at that point 6 months away. It didn't help that she was the first in her circle to get married, so was existing in an echo chamber of everyone being really extra about it and reinforcing her thought that she had totally reasonable expectations. I was of course incredibly excited for her, but people seem to forget that their wedding isn't everyone else's top priority in life. Regardless of how important it is to them, they have other things happening too. We had it out about the above and moved on, but she made the rest of the experience feel like a comparison and a competition with another friend who was calling every day, who also had a very settled life, so probably did have the time to devote all her energy into it. On the day of the wedding, she got incredibly drunk, and I ran around making sure that she got the photos of her cake cutting and so forth, while everyone else just enjoyed themselves. When I had finally gotten everything on her wish list sorted, about 10:30 p.m., I then injured myself pretty badly on the dance floor and spent the rest of the night sat in the bridal room with ice packs on me. She knew about this but never asked about how I was in these days and weeks that followed, bad enough that I eventually required surgery. We're still broadly friends, but no longer close, as I pulled back a lot after that experience. I've fallen out with 2 of my, I thought, closest friends over the way they acted about their weddings. I totally understand that it's the bride's quote-unquote special day, and a lot goes into a wedding and they want it perfect. What I can't understand is being treated like my whole life doesn't matter for months leading up to the wedding day. I had texted in our group chat that wasn't created for the wedding but happened to be all of the bridesmaids and the bride that I got a job and was really excited about it. This was 4 months before the wedding, and the bride-to-be called me screaming about stealing her thunder. I started thinking about how self-centered she's been throughout our friendship, and that's the last time I've talked to her. I got married in Vegas and invited our parents and a few of our closest friends. We had the trip and wedding planned for a year. My friend got engaged a few weeks before my wedding and asked me to reschedule my own so people wouldn't forget about her engagement. I obviously refused, and she insulted me and my cheap, shitty wedding and never spoke to me again. You really learn a lot about someone when they're about to get married. I thought these women were my best friends, but it didn't take me long to realize I didn't miss either of them. You'll be better off without this quote-unquote friend, and congratulations on the job and the new baby. I went through a similar situation as you with my ex-friend. As her maid of honor, she constantly expected me to put her first. I helped her with choosing the dresses, planning her wedding day, and hen's night. She quit her job to be a stay-at-home wife, but I was working and I would get 5 or 6 calls from her at work to talk about her wedding. I had an overseas trip before her wedding, booked before I was asked to be a bridesmaid, which she expected me to cancel for her, but I told her I wouldn't. The last straw was when she was angry at me for prioritizing visiting my mom in the hospital over her wedding plans. I told her I was done with her. I won't be her maid of honor, and I didn't even want to attend. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made. You guys are all so amazing. I'm always overwhelmed by the support. Thank you. And to all who have lost friends for similar reasons, I'm so sorry you've had to deal with shitty people. I hope you found better friends to keep around long term. Alright guys, that's it for today's stories. Thank you very much for listening today. Please remember to smash that like button for me and subscribe to our channel to keep listening to these stories. Thanks again guys for all of your support. We will be seeing you in the next one.